They split bills. They're the most evil people you'll ever meet.
That's Jon Jones.
Jon Jones?
Mm-hmm. He was the one driving the vehicle.
But they don't waste their cases with just killing you or petty crimes. But they definitely listen to conversations like this, and some of them are bored enough to kill you. Just kill you.
Alright, so call me crazy, but I'm starting to think that this Jon Jones fella might not be a very good guy after all. Because just hours after his retirement was announced, more news began to surface that Jon is once again in trouble with the law, this time for allegedly leaving the scene of a car accident where he left behind a half-naked woman who was definitely not his fiancée. Honestly, I'm not at all surprised that he got in trouble with the law again, and the good thing for Jon is that even though his fighting career is over, his criminal career is only getting started. 38 years old is definitely on the older side for fighting, but when it comes to fighting criminal charges, he's got his whole life ahead of him. Frankly, the only thing that I'm surprised at when it comes to this situation is that it was a half-naked woman in the car and not a half-naked homeless man. Nah, but for real, I was tempted to make this video immediately after the news started to break on Saturday night, but I decided to wait until more information was released, and I'm glad that I did because it only makes Jon look worse. Okay, for those of you who somehow aren't informed, I will give you a very brief breakdown of the story here. On February 21st, 2025, police responded to a car crash in Albuquerque. In one of the vehicles was a heavily intoxicated woman who apparently was barely dressed below the waist, and she said that Jon Jones was driving and then fled the scene on foot. She then called Jones on the phone, and a police service aide claimed the person on the phone, who they recognized to be the voice of Jon Jones, appeared to be heavily intoxicated and made statements implying his capacity to employ lethal force through third parties. Per the police report, she apparently either peed or dookied in her pants or both. The woman then took off her pants and told Jon to drive to her house so that she could get pants that didn't have dookie in them. Days later, when Jones was being interviewed by the police, he admits that she was at his house and intoxicated. Regardless, the case took nearly 4 months to reach formal charges, and on June 17th, Jones was hit with a misdemeanor count for leaving the scene of an accident. His bond arraignment is scheduled for July 24th, and the police report states Jones called the woman's phone a total of 13 times from the time of the crash until the next morning, and he also sent her text messages as well. And as you can expect, when this story started to spread, Jon took to Twitter and tweeted the following: "Keep in mind, even the media can get it wrong sometimes if they don't have all the facts. Don't believe everything you read online." Then on Monday morning, Jon's lawyer released a statement where he claims that he's stunned at the accusations being levied against Jon and says that the girl is clearly trying to frame Jon for an accident that she herself caused. And yeah, let's just say that he really lays it on thick on how preposterous the idea that Jon Jones of all people could ever be involved in a crime like this. Jon Jones getting into a car accident that involves a woman where he flees the scene afterward? He would never! Jon is an honest Christian man that would never put a woman in any sort of danger. Then on Tuesday morning, the Albuquerque police released the body cam footage of the phone call that they had with Jones at the crash site, where yes, he does in fact threaten the officer.
But they definitely listen to conversations like this, and some of them are bored enough to kill you. Just kill you.
And who am I speaking to? You Jon Jones?
Right, if you're untraceable, you'd be surprised how bored we can be. My brothers, they kill people for way less. From the average teenager, she's gladly dead.
I got thrown over the phone.
You threatened her with the phone? What did he say?
I said, I know some people that can hurt you for less money.
George, 323 PD. Seems
And
you're
was that on the phone?
Yeah, it's him.
How do you know?
He has a picture and it sounds just exactly like Jon Jones.
I mean, he was smart enough to not admit to his identity, but come on, we all know it's him. Okay, I feel like I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I have a question to ask you. For those of you who actually know how this legal stuff works, definitely feel free to let me know if I'm wrong here, but in the eyes of the law, isn't this case basically a he said, she said at this point? Because you have the girl saying that Jones crashed the car, and Jon's lawyer has already denied that Jon was driving the car. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that even though Jon's role in this situation seems mighty suspicious, I'm not sure if they actually have anything on him that would hold up in court. Because even though Jon himself confirmed that they were partying together at his house, he can just say that he stayed at his house and she misremembered who was driving because she was drunk and on drugs. That being said, I'd love to hear how he's going to try to explain away why he called her 13 times throughout the night starting immediately after the accident happened. Well, you see, my spidey senses started tingling and I really just wanted to check in on her in case anything was wrong by calling her over a dozen times in less than 12 hours. I'm very curious if there are any eyewitnesses that were able to see the crash go down, but I feel like if there were, then the police would have formally arrested him by now. My point here is, in spite of the fact fact that we all know the sort of man that Jon is and the things that he's done in the past, in this particular instance, I'm not sure if they have any concrete evidence that can put him as the driver of the vehicle. Also, one of the parts of the story that really stands out to me is that it seems like Jon and this girl have hung out multiple times prior, and according to her, he's made her drive herself home while drunk more than once. Now, I think at this point it's worth asking how trustworthy is the girl in the story, because again, this is a he said, she said. I know that a lot of you guys, including myself, have an inherent bias against Jon Jones because he's a habitual liar, a dirty fighter, a drug addict, a fake Christian, a PED user, a woman beater, a repeated drunk driver, and just an overall terrible person. But does that mean we should immediately believe the word of this woman who we know nothing about? Because to be fair to Jon, and I hate to be fair to Jon, if this woman can't even be trusted to not dookie her pants in the car, maybe her testimony might not be that reliable after all. But the thing is, even if she is knowingly or unknowingly lying about Jon being the driver, that doesn't change the fact that Jon called her so many times starting right after the crash. I know that I keep coming back to this, but this is a very bizarre thing for a man who apparently wasn't driving the car to do. And assuming that was in fact him on the phone in the body cam video, which it totally was, then that means that in the moments after a car crash he wasn't involved in, he was just coincidentally drunk out of his mind to the point where he's threatening police. Look, as you guys are all well aware, I'm a very open and proud Jon Jones hater, and if you want my candid and completely legally meaningless opinion on the situation, I feel like he was probably driving the car. I'm like 90% sure this guy had something to do with it. And if he somehow comes up with verifiable evidence that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that he was in a completely different place at a completely different time, then very well, I will be happy to say that I was too quick to judge. But even if that does end up being the case, could you really blame me for writing him off too early just based on his criminal history? You want me to give you a recap? Because I'll give you a recap. May 2012, Jones crashed his Bentley into a pole in New York State. He pleads guilty, gets fined, and his license suspended. January 2015, Jon tests positive for cocaine right before UFC 182. He admits himself into rehab for less than 24 hours, then checks himself out once he got bored. April 2015, Jones crashes into a pregnant woman's car, flees the scene, comes back to grab his cash from the car, and then takes off for good this time. Police found the devil's lettuce in his vehicle, and he gets stripped of his title and suspended. March 2016, he's arrested again for 5 citations, including having no license, no registration, and driving without insurance.
Don't tell me what I know. You're going to testify to what I know?
Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm going to testify to what you know.
I know that you were drag racing, and I will testify to that.
That I was not drag racing.
Actually, I do know that you were drag racing.
Both know that I did not speed. You and I both know that I freaking revved my engine at the red light, and I never took off racing at all. Nor was the car next to me ever took off racing. I just simply revved my engine.
Both of you took off at a high rate of speed, sir.
No, I did not.
Only you kept going. He slowed down.
No, I did not.
Okay.
You are an absolute fucking liar.
Well, we can talk about it in court. I need you to sign inside this box. Once again, you're not admitting guilt. You're letting me know you're aware of the court date.
July 2016, he pulls out of UFC 200 for testing positive for clomiphene and letrozole. USADA gives him a 1-year suspension. March 2019, Jones allegedly slaps a cocktail waitress at a strip club, chokes her, and pulls her onto his lap. He ends up picking up a charge for battery and accepts a plea deal.
The woman tells officers Jones was drunk and continued to be physical with her after she got out of the reported chokehold.
I got out of the thing, and then as soon as I did that, he just like picked me up and like, you know, flipped me over or whatever, and then like just kind of started roughhousing with me.
But she says just as she escaped his hold on her,
The issue is that when he put me back down over by the bar, he like smacked my
the woman gets emotional while describing what happened.
The whole situation is so complicated, I'm not even really sure what to say, and this person gets away with everything.
March 2020, Jon is found drunk in his car at 1 a.m. hanging out with a random homeless guy. Jon is arrested for having a firearm and open alcohol in the vehicle.
Okay, sir, so you were telling this officer you were planning on driving, or what exactly happened?
Yeah, well, I got stir crazy, and I got pulled over just being nice.
Okay.
Being nice to the homeless people.
Okay, and you told Officer Brownhead that you had already driven around the block, or?
It just got stir crazy. I just wanted to have a drive. It was my first drive in 2 weeks.
Okay.
I saw these homeless guys, I was being nice to them.
September 2021, just hours after being inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame, Jones was arrested again in Las Vegas, this time for beating the absolute dog shit out of his fiancée in front of his kids. In fact, Jon's daughter was the one who had to ask the hotel staff to call the police on behalf of her mom, who was too scared to tell the truth. When Jones was apprehended by the police, he threw the most unhinged meltdown that I have ever seen in my entire life.
Nerd, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. You nerd. I hate you so much. Thank you. My Hall of Fame name. What's your name? Hurt me and kill me. What did I do? Thank you. My Hall. A black man can't drink. And getting elected into the Hall of Fame, and now this is what I got. Do you? Relax. You're all right. You're all right. I hate you. I hate you.
July 2024, Jon threatened 2 drug testing agents during a surprise visit where he got aggressive with them and apparently said, "Do you know what happens to people who show up at my house? They end up dead." So, based on all the things that he's done in the past, I don't think it's all that unreasonable of me to think that Jon was once again driving drunk, which then led to him once again wrecking a car. And who knows if he actually gets arrested and prosecuted for this particular case, but I promise you that even if he doesn't, his next run-in with the law is right around the corner. This guy is a narcissist with no impulse control and a massive bank account. He is going to get himself into trouble again before long because he genuinely cannot help himself. And I love how his fans continue to act like this guy cured cancer between fights or rescued orphans from a burning building. He is not a hero. He's not a role model. He's not even kind of a good guy. I will say this though, he is the kind of guy who would crash a car and flee the scene, leaving an injured woman behind. I'm gonna end this video off by saying something that I've said before and I'm gonna say it again. Jon Jones is not going to magically get his shit together in his retirement. He no longer has the expectation of staying conditioned, developing his skills, and going through training camps to keep himself on the straight and narrow. Jon now has all the time and money and freedom to do whatever he wants every single day, and that is a very scary concept to me. I get the feeling that this guy is going to stay stuck in this never-ending cycle of self-destruction and chaos for a long time. Don't get me wrong, I really do hope that he eventually gets himself under control, but after watching this guy continually sabotage himself and destroy his image, I really doubt that he will. Anyways, that's the video for today. Definitely let me know if you think Jon was in the driver's seat of the car that night. Do you think that Jon will actually get arrested for this, or will the lack of evidence allow him to walk away scot-free? As always, if you like the video, then like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.